Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday morning, so that means it's time for the Fan Cave podcast. I'm your host, Dylan Bluedorn. To my, I don't know how this goes, left or right. I'm the worst at it. I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. Nope, the other way. We got Mr. Debo Mills, the light-skinned champion himself. And then below me, we got the Southern gentleman, the man, the myth, the big Kentucky Wildcat fan, Mr. Brad Perry, and the buffoon in the corner, looking like an absolute goofball. A professor, I call him the mad scientist, Mr. Future Doctor Levi McKircher, a.k.a. Big Kirch. Gentlemen, how are we doing this Monday morning?
Excellent.
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Taking a break from work and class today to come talk with you gentlemen about some football, baby.
Yes,
Heck yeah, boys. Heck yeah. But no, we'll jump right into it. But I had to have – I've been waiting for so long. Me and Debo have talked about having both of you on for a long time. We've actually had Brad on a couple of times, and he's brought the juice. But I've been waiting to have Kirch on. We've talked about having Kirch on for a long time because we need some of that mad scientist energy into the Fan Cave podcast. So we'll hop right in. Our first thing we got to talk about, breaking news. It just broke within the last hour. Matt Rule is out in Carolina. The Panthers have fired Matt Rule. They've had a kind of atrocious start to their season. Baker Mayfield isn't working out. Brad, what's your take on the Carolina Panthers firing, and is their season just absolutely done with?
I mean, yeah, I think that I think everyone that was watching, everyone around that organization or anyone that has been paying attention to that team for a while has probably saw this coming. It seems, I don't know why, it just seems like Carolina's always in the news for like all the wrong reasons. They're one of those franchises that it just seems like it just seems like they can't really figure out their identity. And that's what it's supposed to bring. Like, I don't understand. I feel like Matt Rule brought more questions than answers. And in the NFL, that's not what you want to bring to a front office. And so, I mean, and they don't win football games. It's just their franchise right now is not in a good spot. So, Matt Rule is not the guy. Come on.
No, absolutely. You guys, either one of you two have anything to say about Matt Rule?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough for college coaches to translate to the NFL. You know, it's a different game, different animal. You know, I mean, they were saying that likely he'll transition into one of the big college programs pretty seamlessly, and I would expect that, you know. But, yeah, in the NFL, it didn't work out. I think right now, just looking at their team, right, they haven't had a solid quarterback in years, right? You know, Cam Newton had his phase. I remember way back Jake Delhomme and the boys over there.
Oh, yeah.
Steve Smith, you know, it's just like,
heck yeah.
you know,
about Jake Delhomme.
Jake Delhomme, baby.
Heck
Yeah.
dude.
But no, man, and with Christian McCaffrey, great player, needs to stay healthy. They got some dogs on defense, you know. They got some good players. I don't think the defense is the problem. I think their offensive, you know, they're just not – they're not doing the right things that they need to get wins. They're in a tough division, you know. So, yeah, too bad for Matt Rule. Hopefully he doesn't end up at Nebraska. We don't want him. But
that would be worst case scenario for sure. I'll take Urban Meyer over. I'll take Matt Rule.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
Absolutely, we'll get into that later on. Debo, what do you think, brother?
I think both of them pretty much covered it. Pretty much everything I was gonna say. Only other thing that I really last year, dude, when the Aaron Rodgers and that whole free agency thing, I said I think the Panthers have a loaded roster. If they can get a franchise quarterback like on Aaron Rodgers' level or something like that, they could really roll into a deep playoff run with that roster. But I mean, Rule, yeah, he struggled a little bit, but he's also dealt with some pretty trash quarterbacks too.
Oh, yeah.
That's the name of the game in the NFL. If you're a new head coach and you don't have a franchise quarterback, it gets exponentially tougher. I mean, if you look at every good team, they all have a stud quarterback or a stud defense. It's one or the other. I mean, unfortunately, Carolina has neither, so they're screwed.
Yeah, I got to add too, you know, I really wanted it to work out with Baker Mayfield. I love his energy, his mentality. I think, you know, if they don't get things turned around this year, that could be really the dagger for him. He might be a perennial backup, you know, no matter how big his heart is, you know, if you're not getting wins, they ain't give a fuck. So
Yeah, he's definitely tapped his potential. That's for sure. I think his ceiling was his playoff run with Cleveland. That's Baker's ceiling. I know that sounds bad, but for a number 1 overall pick, man, I don't know.
Yeah, true.
He isn't the worst one, but he's definitely not the best one.
Yeah, definitely not the worst.
Jamarcus
So,
Russell.
Kurt, I don't
MVP.
know the Carolina landscape. I know you're in South Carolina, not North Carolina. But is
Yeah.
there a lot of? And I'm sure it's mostly Carolina fans. Have you talked to any of them? Have you heard anything about have they been calling for his head for a while? Has it been kind of like on the chopping block, or is it kind of they've been hopeful? What's the kind of the feel in Carolina?
Yeah, so I live in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Whereas the Panthers, their stadium's
North
in Charlotte, up in North
Carolina,
Carolina.
yeah.
But you see a lot of fans. I think, there's a lot of Dallas fans down here, Falcons fans as well. But I don't know. Yeah, I think they got a nice stadium. I've been to a game. The tailgating's fun. They'll support their team, but they'd like to see some wins coming through the door. So I don't know.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into and let's recap some of the NFL games from this past weekend. There's a lot that happened. The first game I got to jump into, though, as a avid Vikings fan, I got to talk about the Green Bay Packers in London and how they got shellacked, but they got beat by the New York Football Giants. Debo, I don't know if you were able to catch any of the game, but what's your take on the Green Bay Packers? That's the team we're talking about. The Green Bay Packers struggling in London.
I mean, Packers roster, it's one of those years they're probably every game is gonna be a dogfight for the most part. Like they're gonna have to come out and actually play their best. For the most part, I feel like they played a decently solid game, but that New York Giants, they just made a big 4th down stop. That's really what changed the whole outlook of that game was that 4th down stop towards the end. If they convert that and the Packers end up coming out and scoring and winning the game, like you wouldn't even think anything of it. You just think it's another routine day for the Packers, I guess.
No, definitely. Kurt, what do you think as a Vikings fan? I can't tell you're a Vikings fan, but I'm pretty sure you are.
Yeah, so I'm not a big fan of the Packers. I used to like Brett Favre a lot, but as far as the Packers goes, they're trash to me. But I don't know. I didn't like their offseason moves. They get rid of Devontae. And, they draft receivers, but if you're looking for some immediate help with an aging quarterback and Aaron Rodgers, I think they needed to go out and get at least a wide receiver number 1. Romeo Doubs is kind of on the come up. They got Alan Lazard, who's a good player, but I just don't think those guys are going to be there. And Aaron Rodgers expects a lot. And, I think for right now, they're kind of disappointing. So, yeah, they're going to be in tough games. I think they're not the favorite in the division. They're just lucky that the Bears are trash and the Lions are mid. It's like, Packers might squeak into the wild card, but right now they got some things to figure out. Plus, they let their number 1 linebacker go to a divisional rival, and he's a stud still. What were they thinking?
Darius Smith, baby.
I just think their coaches are goofy. Matt LaFleur, yeah, offensive mastermind, but hell of a lot more to the football game than that. So Packers got a long way to go.
All right, I can't get past this. I have to talk about it. Is Brett Favre your favorite quarterback? Kurt, of all time?
Yeah. I love Brett Favre, man. Except, yeah, shit.
We got to talk about it.
I didn't even think of that. This is a bad time to be talking about him. That's some ugly stuff. But
when you said Brett Favre, we all were like, what?
I was wondering why you were looking at me like that. Yeah, so he's in some hot water for some personal matters. On the field, he was a legend, but yeah.
Hey, she deserved that stadium, all right?
I still love Brett Favre. Regardless of what happened, still love Brett Favre.
If you look at it though, he's been in the mess of a lot of things. Like he's done a lot of wild stuff. But
dude's from backwater Mississippi. He's not worried about all this.
Pittsburgh's finest.
For real.
Yeah,
I mean he should have been funneling that Wrangler jean money and the copper fit money over to the stadium. Probably not welfare dollars. So he just
welfare.
Yeah, he's from the backwoods of Mississippi, stealing from the backwoods of Mississippi. I mean, he's kind of the spokesperson for backwoods Mississippi. He's hating on him, man. I can't believe it.
You guys need water?
Dude,
needs volleyballs.
Him calling the Lions mid crack.
That's what I was laughing at, bro. I heard him say that.
I'm gonna tell you boys how it is.
That was hilarious.
That was good.
Oh, all right. Brad, you got anything on the game?
I mean, yeah, I got a couple things. I think that the London games are always so weird. Like it's just like it's a weird kickoff time. You're not really you're in just a weird environment. I think it's hard for a lot of teams to really wake up and execute well. That's why a lot of the games there have kind of been, in terms of like quality of football, have not been very good. But I mean, at this point in time, the Packers are a good team, but like Kurt said, I mean, they do not have a receiver one. He missed one name, Aaron Rodgers' favorite target, Randall Cobb.
Yeah.
Now, of course, he's been his wide receiver one for the majority of his career, but he's old, he's aging, he's on a veteran contract. Like they need something to like bring energy. It just feels like I don't know why the Packers franchise they just like thrive on surrounding him with like aging old talent. I don't really understand why they don't want to give this man help, and they got rid of the only help they've ever given him at the receiver position. But yeah, I also think that after watching that game, man, we thought the NFC East was going to be one of the worst divisions in football. They got 3 legitimate football teams right now with the Eagles, boys, and the Giants. And so that's something that the Giants might just be like the team that I don't think is going to win it, but they might steal a playoff berth, man.
No, absolutely.
And in football games,
electric, dude.
I cannot believe it.
I'm excited for the football game on Sunday night coming up. That Cowboys-Eagles game. I think that's going to say a lot early season.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're sitting next to a big Eagles fan, so we can get the booze out now. But moving on to the what's up, Tebow?
Jalen Hurts looks fire.
He does look good.
Jalen Hurts looks fire. Like he looks composed. Everything. He's like rolling out of the pocket, still turning his shoulders, keeps his mechanics in sync, and he's just he looks good, bro.
No, absolutely.
He's not turning the ball over. Oh, makes me so happy. I love Carson Wentz, man. But gosh, you could just count on 2 or 3 turnovers a game.
Yep.
Like,
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that game against Arizona, man, I was kind of looking at it from the Cardinals' point of view. Like, are they going to be legit? That game, I think, told a lot. Let's hop right into the game. I think that game actually did tell a lot for both sides. I mean, the Eagles are still dominant; they're unbelievable. But I want the Cardinals finally put a game like they're the most unpredictable team I think in the NFL. I think that's their name because they play their competition all the time. Either Kyler Murray shows up or he plays video games the night before and they play absolutely horrible. I mean, it's ridiculous. He is like So I live in Arizona. You guys all know that, but for the millions of fans we got on this show, I might as well say that. But every single week, I mean, you don't know what team's coming on the field. I listen to sports talk radio. They say the same thing. They don't know who Kyler Murray and the Cardinals are going to be. They have no idea. They hope they go 3-3 before D-Hop comes back. That's not going to happen. I don't think. I'm not sure what the record is. I should know that having a sports show. But you guys can dive into it if you guys want to. But I think the Cardinals are the most they don't know what's going to happen with them every single week team. And the Eagles look like they're the best team in the NFC.
I'll tell you what, dude. I'll say this about the Cardinals, man. If you take away one drive, like I think it was the opening drive with AJ Brown, dude, they locked him up.
Mm-hmm.
Like their defense is like legit in terms of coverage and they play zone coverage very well. But something that was really like interesting is the Eagles went up. I think we went up early 2 scores. And honestly, like I felt like I was like, all right, this is gonna be one of those games we probably win by like 28 or something. Like, I don't know why Arizona is always this team, but they don't play hard until they're losing.
Yeah.
Every single game. I'm like, if you just start the game off with the same energy, you'll win. You'll win. And that's kind of like goes back to what you're saying. They're so inconsistent. You can't blame it on talent. You can't blame it on depth. They have all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now they are missing D-Hop, which is a huge loss. I mean, he can make a catch over anyone. But I just don't understand why it took them having to go down 2 scores to start playing hard. Like you see that a lot in the NFL. I don't know if it's just like because the difference in like competitiveness, it's just a little bit different when you're making millions of dollars. But I don't know why it is that it just seems to be like the Cardinals' MO, man. Like it doesn't seem like they really like. They don't have that mentality of like coming in and really like pouncing on your throat and like going for the kill shot. I just don't feel that like that grit. I don't know what they're missing. I don't know. I don't like Cliff Kingsbury. That's another conversation. I think he's probably the real issue. But I'm not a believer in the Cardinals yet. But they should have, if they had their starting kicker, they'd have made that kick and they'd have got the ball in overtime. I think we would have lost.
Yeah.
But
Well,
God bless the Philly boys, man. God bless them.
I mean, when you look at the Cardinals lineup, man, they have good players.
Yeah.
You know, I love Hollywood Brown. I think that was a great addition. Is it Rondale Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was he the Purdue guy?
Purdue.
Yeah. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, if anything good coming out of the D-Hop suspension is, he's getting more reps and kind of getting to be that kind of number 2 guy. So, and then they've got Zach Ertz at tight end, right? Who's a little older, but still skilled. I mean, they have the dudes. They just,
Dortch the Torch.
I don't know. I think, yeah. I mean,
Greg
the only
Dortch.
thing I'd say is their wide receiver height kind of lacking. Maybe that's when DeAndre Hopkins he'll raise the average height there. But yeah, I think the Cardinals, if they can just make it into the playoffs, yeah, it's hot and cold. You never know. I don't know if they're going to be consistent enough to really make a long drive, but I think we should talk about the decisions at the end of the game. I almost had nightmares of it if I was an Arizona fan where, I mean, why did he slide? Why don't you just dive for it? You don't affect the clock any differently. I mean, I think that was just a terrible decision and kind of a scared decision if I'm gonna put it that way.
No, absolutely.
What happened with the slide situation? I didn't get to see that game. What happened?
Oh.
Yeah, so what was it? 2nd and 10 or something. There were 20 seconds, and he ran for about 9 yards, and then instead of just getting the first down to move the sticks, he slid. And then that was 3rd down, and apparently they spiked it, right? So it takes it from what would have been 1st and 10 to a 4th and 1, right?
4th and 1, yeah.
And so then that makes the choices so much trickier, and yeah, I mean, and plus, yeah, if they get that first down, then it opens up to get even closer or, score a tud. It's like they're explosive offense. Like, don't be too risky, but win the game, right? The Eagles are undefeated. Like, if you want to beat the best teams in the NFL, you have to, go for it, right? Like, be aggressive and push it. And he slid, and unfortunately, he was out.
Yeah, definitely. But no, a quick stat that I listen to Sports Talk Radio every week in Arizona here, and they came out with a stat and said before this game against Philly, Arizona's offense was the worst team in the first half offensively, and the best team in the second half offensively in the league.
Wow.
Talk about inconsistency. I mean, that team makes literally no sense by which half they play. It makes they always they're the most. They trail in every game and they come back, just like Brad said. They are a heart attack to watch. The only thing that could be worse is they had Carson Wentz come join their team as a quarterback. Then then the whole team would be cardiac arrest.
I mean, I got one major question. What hype music are they listening to before the game? Are they listening to old 50, stuff that'll get them going? Like, if they're coming out that soft, what are they listening to? Adele? Come on.
Yeah, no kidding.
Kyler's half Korean. They're meditating in the locker room before the game, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to be peaceful.
Probably all the yoga mats,
Whoa.
I guess
shots at Korean.
No, Kyler, though, for real, he it seems like he tries to be he always comes in and he tries to be like that emotionless, don't show your emotions quarterback. And it seems like that's what gets him in trouble. He tries to be so nonchalant about it that he doesn't show any urgency until they're down. And then it's I should probably kick it into gear here. Maybe actually make some good decisions.
No, absolutely.
My last thought here is, aren't the Cardinals really bad at home and much better on the road?
They have been. They have been this year.
Yeah. That's confusing. So
I swear that I think they just go in with less pressure on the road because they think they're going to think they have nothing to lose. I really think that.
Close this window. Hold on.
So moving on to another game. I know this isn't really two high-level matchups, but I want to talk about it because in the NFC North, we're an NFC North show. the mid Detroit Lions. They played the Vikings tough. They've played good in a lot of games. Dan Campbell was kind of turned them around. And then this week, Bill Belichick came and bent them over and showed them just how good a football team they really are. Losing 29-0 on the road in New England with a third-string quarterback for the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Debo, I don't know if you have to watch any of the game, but if you did, I mean, you could just tell by the score and talk about it. The Detroit Lions, I don't know where to go. I mean, it sucks because they started building momentum, and now that just went out the window.
I mean, for the most part, like I didn't watch that game. I watched most of the college games this weekend. I only got to watch a couple NFL, but for the most part with the Lions, it seems like everyone's bought in. Everyone wants to play for Dan Campbell, but they just don't have the roster talent. Like that's just plain and simple what it is. Like they don't have talent like the rest of the teams. Like their star offensive player besides St. Brown is TJ Hawkinson, and they do not use him, I feel like, near enough. Like, they need to game plan more around those guys. But other than that, they just lack talent, bro. Like, when they play good coach teams that don't make small mistakes and fundamentally are sound, yeah, you're probably going to get rolled like that.
But do they, though? I mean, their weapons are balling. They have an incredible offense. They just can't stop anybody.
Yeah.
Defensively, they can't stop a single soul.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just their offense, yeah, has some weapons, but it's like their defense is their main problem. But everybody on there is so, like, young. Like, I don't know. They just don't have – it seems like Patricia kind of messed that, like, roster up before he left. Real talk.
The thing is, this week, though, I mean, coming into this week, I think they have the number one scoring offense, but they have the number one, like, worst defense in the league. They were number 1 and 32 in offense and defense. And they're, like I said, they're about as – they're like the Cardinals. They're just, you don't know what you're going to get, but they will score points, except for this week where Bill Belichick made Jared Goff look bad for the second time in a row. So,
yeah, I don't know. I'm just used to the Lions being at the bottom of the division as a Vikings fan. I just hope they stay there. Yeah, I think they're still rebuilding. You know, I think they're improving. You know, I don't remember how many games they won last year. It wasn't a lot. And so this year, if they win a few more, great. And they'll just keep building. And, you know, someday they'll be an 8-9 team. They hope.
Hey, 10-6 and win a playoff game.
Question, though. Do you guys think, like, me personally, I feel like Dan Campbell does a great job. Even if they have a losing season, I definitely don't feel like he should be on the hot seat. Like,
no,
I don't think he's going to be. He's turning around the there's hype around that team for the first time in years.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think with the Lions, I think they have their guy at quarterback. They've got St. Brown. This was just they didn't show up to play, man.
Yeah, this is a bad game. Yeah, right.
This is on the coach. I mean, in the NFL, you can get lucky and score a field goal. I mean, to not register any trips to the end zone, that's bad coaching, and they are. I wish I could compare them to a team, but they almost kind of remind me of Carolina, the way Carolina was before Cam Newton was there. They're just like a couple players away. Like and they also have a lot of bad breaks, man. Like let's just the Detroit Lions, man. They get so many unlucky plays, and just like I'm like, man, it's just that franchise's aura is just a losing aura. But they're definitely on the upswing. This was just an embarrassing performance. They didn't play good, and they got outcoached. Right. Bill Belichick, I mean, he's been doing this for a long time. So if you don't come prepared, you'll lose, and that's what happened.
No, definitely. All right, Debo, pull up the NFL standings graphic. We're going to move on to the NFL. We're going to look at the – go ahead, Debo. Go ahead. You got one more thing.
Before we move on to that, I remember before we started, you said we want to talk about teams that can't get it done. You want to talk about Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, you said earlier?
I was going to get into it when we get into the standings.
Okay. Bet.
Because I got a lot to say on that goofball, so we'll figure this out.
Should we pop
All right, we're going to get into the NFL standings, and we're going to talk about kind of who we think can make a play for the playoffs. I know it's early, but we are already through a quarter of the season. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Let's go to the AFC East first, Debo. Let's go ahead and keep that rolling. There's probably no way you can have all of – I guess we can just talk about it.
I can only get like 2 of them at home. I gotta try and get it. It's like so delayed when I do this. I get like
do those
2
two
in
right
there.
there, the East and the West.
Yeah.
All right, let's start with the AFC East with the mess that is the Miami Dolphins right now. With 2 weeks ago, they didn't have any quarterbacks. They wouldn't diagnose Tua with a concussion. They wouldn't let it happen. And now 2 weeks after that, they have 2 quarterbacks down with a concussion. What do you guys think is can anybody contend with Buffalo to win the division and make the playoffs out of those 3 teams? Debo, if you can get all of us back on the screen, I'd do that right there. Perfect.
I guess I can kick us off here.
Yeah, hop in there, Kurt.
I'm just going to talk about the division as a whole, I guess. You know, Buffalo's the real deal. They got it all put together. I love Stephon Diggs. He's a dog.
No.
The Jets, I mean, I'm surprised, man. They're playing well. You know, Zach Wilson's playing well. He had some pretty crazy offseason news, which I'm still laughing about. You know, they're buying in. The Dolphins, the situation with Tua's concussion was just terrible. You know, you hate to see that. The NFL's making changes. You know, your brain is important, so we want to protect it at all costs. Even if people want to win a football game, still got to protect the dome piece. And the Patriots are good. So this is a tough division, you know. I think the Bills obviously win the division, get into the playoffs, but I could easily see two teams maybe squeaking in wild card here.
You think the Jets can make the playoffs?
I do not think the Jets make the playoffs, but I like what they're doing right now.
Fair enough. What do you, Brad? What's your take on your Bills and the AFC East?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Kirch on this one. I think obviously Buffalo's your favorite. They have a complete team. They have a great defense, good offense, and when they're rolling, they're unstoppable. So obviously, I think they'll win the division. What this could be a sort of a hot take. I do feel like once Mac Jones is healthy, I do feel like the Patriots will. I don't know why. I always tend to believe they'll compete for a playoff spot, even when they're struggling in the beginning of the season. And I think it's been obvious they just don't have their glue guy right now. When Mac Jones gets back, I do think they'll probably be the second best team in the division. I think the Dolphins are going to be so tentative to bring back Tua. I don't think he'll play probably for another month. I genuinely don't think they'll play him for a while.
Because have they released any timetable? I don't know that I've seen.
No, not yet. He's just been medically. I don't know what they put some term on it, but like they won't even give like a time. I think that because of the backlash, I think they're gonna overdo it. I don't think the Dolphins are gonna win another game without him. They look bad.
Her third stringer looked horrible.
Yeah, Tyler Thompson, dude,
that was tough. Tyreek on fantasy.
I barely remember. I remember the name when I looked it up, but man, he was bad. Like he wasn't even good at Kansas State. I don't understand why he was in. I don't know how he ended up starting in the NFL, but good for him. Make that money.
Kansas State under Coach Snyder? Nah, Kansas State. They have the softest fans, dude.
Not as soft as the West Texas Mental Institution.
I hear they have the softest mattresses out there.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
That's awesome. Kurtz with the pole. He's bringing it. Jake Delhomme and then longest yard. I'm loving it.
Yep.
Kansas State for Coach Snyder. You should.
On the AFC East, the Dolphins are, heck, 2 weeks ago we were talking about them being a top 5 team in the NFL. I don't know, man. This division makes zero sense to me. I don't think the Patriots are it. They didn't look good with Mac at all. The offensive line is horrible. But they did have a huge win against the Lions, but the Lions defense is garbage too. Somebody's going to get in this division. I'm going to pick the Dolphins to be that team if Tua comes back and can be Tua from what we've seen. But I don't see the Jets or the Patriots getting in the AFC East.
I agree.
Devo, you got anything?
Bills are probably going to roll this division for the rest of the year. One thing I do want to say, though, is the Patriots. Look at the Patriots' points against, though. They're playing good defense. The defense isn't doing so bad. It looks like it's their offense is the problem.
Matthew Judon is a beast.
He is a
Yeah,
beast.
facts. Yeah, bro.
All right, let's move on to the AFC West. To my team, who I think is the best team. I can't say that. Second best team in the AFC because the Bills are just that good. And then the Kansas City Chiefs.
You can't say your team. You're not a Chiefs fan.
Did I say my team?
Yeah, you said my team.
Oh, lighten up.
By that, I mean like my team to win the AFC is what I'm saying.
Got you.
You know what, Debo? Just shut your mouth. All right. No, I'm just kidding. But all right, moving on. I'll go first. I think Kansas City will be probably the 1 or 2 seed in the AFC. That's kind of a given. Then the Chargers. I was talking to a buddy of ours, of me and Kirch's, and his name's Jake. He's a big Chargers fan. He doesn't know what to feel with the Chargers right now. I mean, Justin Herbert's been playing hurt. I think he's starting to come to his own a little bit with the big win over the Cleveland Browns. The Denver Broncos are the worst team, I think, potentially the bottom 3 team in the NFL. Their offense is horrendous. Russell Wilson is trying to be a stereotype quarterback for any NFL movie, and it's horrible. Like, dude, the dude never left high school. He's so corny. It's annoying. He drives me nuts.
Broncos Nation. Right.
Then the Raiders, man, it's kind of an experiment that hasn't worked thus far. I mean, they're a mid team as well. Broncos are garbage. I could go on and on about them, but I think the Chargers and the Chiefs are the only 2 that have a chance to make it out. I think the Raiders and the Broncos. If the Raiders are going to do it, they're going to have to get going, and the Broncos are going to play the toilet bowl this year against the Texans. So that's my take. Brad, what do you got?
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think the Chiefs and Chargers are definitely your 2 divisional favorites. If the Raiders are a playoff team, Jesus must be coming back because they haven't looked it at all. They look. I don't understand. I really was of belief that they were going to be a contender this year. I don't know where I went wrong. Their roster's still solid. They've got a great quarterback. They've got Devontae. What's his name, dude? I always mess up. Devontae Adams. Yeah, I always want to say Freeman. They've got deep ball threats. They've got a good quarterback. They've got a solid running group. They're not a good football team, man. They're not. They don't have like continuity, or I don't know, man. They're probably the biggest disappointment of the season so far. And then literally right behind them has to be the Broncos, man. I will say the one thing the Broncos have for them is they've got a really good defense. They keep games close. That might be the worst NFL offense. Hey, who do you think would score more points in a game? The Broncos or the Hawkeyes?
I mean,
Broncos.
Yeah, you're talking to 3 Nebraska fans, so you're going to go ahead and say, yeah, the Broncos.
Okay. Are you taking the over/under is 50 points in the game?
75 punts in the game.
75 punts. Well, real talk.
Absolutely, they have to have at least 3 safeties and 3 field goals. Yeah, those suck, dude. The Raiders have been the biggest disappointment of the season. I think the Chiefs are probably gonna pretty easily handle this division. I do think the Chargers will get probably 1 sneaky win in there, but the Chiefs, man, they're too good.
Right. All right, we're gonna move on to the AFC North. And I'm gonna have.
I didn't even get to say anything. Oh, you just cut me out here.
You told me to shut up on the show. You came from my Chiefs take. So yeah, no, I'm just kidding. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Debo.
All right. Real thing I'm gonna say though. Look at the Broncos points against. They are right between the 2 teams that are the front runners of the AFC, showing that their defense, they have a playoff defense. What really needs to happen if they want to change this season, just go ahead and fire Nathaniel Hackett, get him out of there.
3 games to 5 games into the league, into the season.
He is horrible. I'm not putting this on Russ. Russ needs to move his feet more, but Nathaniel Hackett puts him in retarded situations. Like, it's not even funny. That defense is playing out of their mind. If I was a D coordinator, I would be so pissed at Hackett. Like, it's not even funny, bro.
He needs to get on his horse and get the hell out of town. And then
points scored on the season. Bro, like, if they actually put up some points, they'd probably be a top team in the league. Like, it's ridiculous. Hackett is horrible, bro. Like, And the fact that you have Broncos fans leaving the game as the game's going into overtime, half your fans are leaving, that is not a good sign. That is bad.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Kurt, you got anything on the AFC West? Have you talked? I don't know what's going on. I'm a great host.
I'll just keep it short. I think the Raiders are better than their record reflects, and I think the Broncos are worse than their record reflects. The Chargers got some things to figure out. They got a lot of weapons too. So yeah, we'll see how this division shakes up. But I don't know. Tonight's going to be very telling. You know, the Raiders need a win. Does anyone know if that's home or away?
It is.
If it's in Vegas, I got the Raiders. If it's in Kansas City, I got KC, and that's money line straight up. That's what I think. The Raiders need it. They need it real bad.
I think the Chiefs are gonna smoke them. I got the Chiefs winning that game.
Where's it at?
Margin.
Is it at Arrowhead? Okay, yep. Chiefs roll.
Chiefs
baby.
by a margin. Are we all in favor? All in favor. Say Debo sucks. Debo sucks. All right, perfect. Moving on.
Lick 'em. Welcome to Lake Mackay.
All right, AFC North. This might be one of the most interesting divisions in the NFL. The Steelers are right up there with the Broncos. They're looking like they're shining brightly.
Kenny Pickett.
They're so bad. Kenny Pickett time. Dude, what a terrible situation for the Steelers. Horrible. Start your guy, and then your guy looks like, looks horrible. I mean, he's garbage. The Browns, they're one of them. They're a team that could bring it on. They'll be right there in the hunt at the end to make the playoffs. I think the Ravens are the best team in the division. They had a close win against the Bengals, but Lamar didn't look very good in that game. He missed receivers, didn't look very good. But I think the Ravens are the best team in this division. But I think the Bengals are the second best, and then the Browns and the Bengals will both be battling for the playoff spot in the wild card. And I think the Steelers will finish 2-15. So there we go.
Can I say something about Kenny Pickett?
Yeah, please do.
You really think he's that bad? I think he's just a rookie, dude. I don't think he's that
bad.
No,
I think he's good. It just stinks for the Steelers that they had everything riding on this kid, and it just hasn't worked out yet. It just sucks because he's played 2 really bad games.
I mean, true, but hey, Peyton Manning threw 28 interceptions as a rookie quarterback. So as long as he can keep it under there, he's got a shot.
Yeah.
I mean, that's quite the comparison.
Like, I mean, bro, Kenny Pickett, he puts balls in, like, when he throws balls up, he does put them in pretty good spots for his receivers to make a play. Like, he's a gunslinger, but he gives his receivers a chance to make plays on the ball.
He almost got in a fight last week. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like to see that, my quarterback.
I like that energy. Kirch, what do you got?
I think it was just a tough decision. You know what you got in Trubisky. He is absolutely mid, maybe slightly less than. He's just a placeholder. You rely on your defense. I think, they made the choice to go with Pickett maybe a little prematurely, and it's been a tough start so far. So I don't really know what their schedule looks like, but he's gonna have some tough divisional games, but hopefully he can string together some wins. But I like the Bengals for sure. The Browns, Jacoby Brissett, man, what can you say? He's holding down the fort till Deshaun Watson gets back. If they're in contention, is Deshaun Watson 10 games?
11.
11. Yeah.
So, if they're around that and give him a chance to win the last 4 out of the last 5, that could be very interesting, especially with the pair of running backs they got up in Cleveland.
Yeah,
So,
Nick Chubb.
They might pull a Philadelphia special.
Yeah, man. Start making a late run and
go on to win a Super Bowl with Deshaun. Never know, bro.
Yep.
Hey, you never know. Let's hear from the Philly special fan here about what he thinks about the AFC North.
I think y'all hit it right, like, perfectly. I think the Ravens are probably going to win this division. I definitely think the Browns are so sneaky. I wouldn't put my money on it, but they could win this division. Like you said, Lamar has looked a little off this season. When obviously, running the ball, he's the best running quarterback in the league, and that obviously, is a defensive nightmare. But if you can neutralize his rushing ability, they don't have, like, he's never been the best passer, but he's always been fairly accurate. His accuracy the last 2 games has been horrible. And And I don't know. I feel like with the Browns, I kind of feel like what Kurt said. If they can just kind of hold at like maybe if they can get 500, if they can be 500 by the time that Deshaun Watson comes, well, they won't be 500. It's 11 games. So if there's 6-5 by the time Deshaun Watson comes in, if he is what we expect him to be, which that is a whole different story, I don't see any reason why they couldn't beat the Ravens. I also am still of the belief that the Bengals are going to find themselves and find that offense. I just feel like there's too much talent on that offense. They've got one of the best receiving cores in the league. Obviously, the O-line is still an issue, but I still think the Bengals are going to squeeze it out. I don't know why. I just have a feeling in my gut. And then I think also with the Steelers, it's just one of those years where they're not in contention. You're probably going to play for a pretty high draft pick. And that big thing is, what do you draft? Like, do you draft a receiver? Do you draft offensive linemen? That's where the real interesting question comes in with the Steelers. But I think the Ravens, I'm going with the Ravens right now. But if the Browns can stay 500, I think they'll be right there in contention as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. Have we all? Oh, go ahead, Debo.
Joe Burrow's playing like a savage. Like, for how much he's getting hit, that dude is still the truth. Like, bro, like, it doesn't matter. He always delivers the ball when you need him to. Like, that dude is a savage.
I agree.
He's the mailman. Delivered, will be there on time every time, no matter what kind of turbulence he hits. All right, moving on to the worst division in football. I'm saying that. You guys don't believe it or not. I think the AFC South is horrendous. I think they're all bad. I'm going to go ahead and talk about Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars first. I was kind of starting to ride them decently high from the last couple of games they played. But the last 2 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has thrown crucial interceptions in the red zone in the last 2 games, and he's looked horrible. The Jacksonville Jaguars have lost the games, the close games they've played, because of Trevor Lawrence. It's not the defense. It's not other things going on. It is 100%. This is on Trevor Lawrence this time. He has been looking terrible the last couple of weeks. I think the red zone. He is horrible. He's horrible in the red zone. Horrible. Just doesn't look poised. He makes a lot of dumb mistakes. He's young, I know, but he's got to start to figure it out and turn it around. Otherwise, Jacksonville will never be able to be better than third in their own division. I think Trevor Lawrence is the biggest issue in this division right now. I think they got to figure it out. With that being said, the Colts, they're hanging in there right at 500. I know Debo's still going to ride them till the end of the days. I think the Titans are the best team in the division. The Colts are second. I think exactly how they display it right there. That's how it should be. Yeah, the Texans beat the Jaguars, but that was kind of a fluke. Trevor Lawrence absolutely shit the bed in the game. He looked horrible. That's how it is. Brad, take over from here.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think I know how Debo's feeling about the Colts. Remember when he picked top 5 in the NFL? That's tough.
Top 5.
I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't know if you remember when we were on here together, Landon basically berated the Jags, said he didn't think they were good at all. He think the people were buying into hype that wasn't there, and I think he's right. I mean, now looking at it, man, have they fallen off a cliff, dude? Like, they come 3 plays away from beating Philly, and now, I mean, they're reeling fast. And Trevor Lawrence is the reason. I mean, just costly turnovers, man. Like, you have got to protect the football, and I still think Trevor Lawrence is the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. This is another one of those situations like you have with the Lions, where it's Jacksonville seems like they just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah.
And I mean, this division's kind of embarrassing. The Titans haven't looked like a good offense all year. They've squeezed out wins because they have at least a good running game. I don't think a single team in this is going to win a playoff game. But, if you really want me to bet on somebody, I'll take the Titans. If the Colts were healthy and they played with any kind of grit, I would pick the Colts. But they're not even the same team they were last year. So Matt Ryan, what is that?
The Jaguars have all the ability to be a potentially good football team. They're in all the games. It's just they make too many mistakes. I can't even say they. He makes too many mistakes for it to be working right now. I like to overreact, but that is just I can't believe it. I was telling everybody they were going to blow up the Texans, and they didn't. That's why I'm kind of upset about it. Kirch, what do you got?
Honestly, I don't have too much to say about this division. I
Who
actively
cares?
I actively avoid these games on TV, so I don't really know a whole lot that's going on there. I know the Colts have largely been underperforming. People are excited about them. They're still 2-2-1, so that ain't the worst, I guess.
Yeah.
I think Trevor Lawrence needs to get a fade haircut and get rid of his locks. That would probably at least give them 3 or 4 more wins this season.
Fair enough.
Aerodynamics.
Exactly. So I'm not real high on any of these teams, and they should feel lucky they're not in a tougher division.
Absolutely. Debo, go ahead and defend your Colts. Let's hear it.
All right, but before that, you said, speaking of bad takes, I also just wanted to point out how you said the Red River rivalry's never been a blowout.
This is the first one in years.
It got blown out. But anyways, back to the division. Like Brad said, Colts need to get healthy. That's a big thing. They also haven't scored very much at all this year because Jonathan Taylor is having a horrible year. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's in his head. If it's just the offensive line's not making big enough holes. I haven't really got to watch any film on it or to see what's going on. But their run game is horrible. It's not even they don't even use him in the short passing game. Nothing. They just kind of cut him out of their game plan completely, or he just can't get it going. But I'm telling you, for sure. I'm just telling you, if he starts rolling, dude, the Colts are gonna start rolling people, and people are gonna be like, "Oh man, Debo knows what he's talking about." But hey, if anyone has a chance to come and sneak this division, it's the Colts.
Yeah, it's wide open.
I think Tannehill he's a good quarterback, but we've seen you're going to get all you're going to get from him. I don't know. I don't think Tannehill has it to win those late games.
For sure. All right, let's move on. We got to go fast. We're already at 45-minute mark. Let's do the NFC really quick because I want to get to college ball. I really want to do. So let's hurry this up. It's all your fault, Kurt. You come on the show. No, I'm just joking. But
there's a lot to talk about, boys. A lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah, I know. We need to be a 3-hour show, but we all have lives, and I don't make money from the show yet. So everybody like and subscribe to dang video. All right.
The Fan Cave is actively seeking sponsorships. So holla.
For sure. Heck yeah. Shout out. All right, NFC East, Brad, talk about your Eagles.
Man, let me tell you. I'll go first, just a little quick take off of the last game with the Cardinals. I didn't like our second half play calling. We felt a little bit conservative. We threw a lot of screen passes, which I think against the Cardinals is not going to work. They play a very up-in-your-face press coverage, and I don't know why we didn't – it felt like we coasted in the second half, and I don't like that because I think what's made the Eagles so scary this year is that it's like a consistent pressure. They consistently are coming at you in every way they can. I do think they got a little bit lackluster on their play calling, but I just think it was just one of those games. It's an ugly win, but what I've liked is we've won the ugly games as well as the games where we've smoked teams, and so that shows that we have a good balance, that we don't have to be blowing teams out to find a way to win games. I think right now, Cooper Rush is playing Dak out of his job. I paid him. I know they paid Dak the big money, but I'm telling you, man, you can't bench him if he beats the Eagles this Sunday. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, Dak Prescott is on the hot seat of losing his job, bro. If he starts 6-0 in his first 6 starts, because he won a game I think last year against I want to say it might have been the Vikings, but he's never lost a game, and so I think Cooper Rush is taking Dak's job. I do think the Eagles are going to win this division. I think we'll lose one. I think we'll split with the boys. I think we'll probably lose one with the Commanders. I don't know why we always lose to Washington once a year. I don't think we'll lose any other games on our schedule, though. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys will both make the playoffs from this division. I think what's sad, I think that on paper, Washington also looks like a better team than the Giants, but they just always find a way. They find a way to lose the game every single time it's a close game. Washington absolutely wets their pants. So for that and that reason, fair enough. I think it's the best division in football right now. But
Fair enough.
that's a hot take also.
Debo, you got anything?
Yeah. Okay. Flip side NFC. Flip side of the NFC East from 2 years ago. Like, look at everyone in this division is like 4-1, but you gotta think their matchup this year is the NFC South. So this is very deceiving. I really think the only real team in this division is the Eagles. I feel
Wow, no Cowboy or Giant love.
I feel like the Cowboys. I mean, they're playing the NFC South this year, so like everyone except for the Commanders is like 4-1, but they're playing the NFC South, who's not doing so hot. They're kind of beating each other up, but taking nothing away from the Eagles. I think the rest of the division's kind of trash. Eagles are probably gonna ride it out.
Oh, you don't mean that.
The NFC East has been trash for a minute, but the Eagles are balling, so that's good.
Fair enough. Kirch, if you have anything to take on the NFC East, and then jump into the NFC West.
All right. Yeah, I think that there's a lot of success in the NFC East right now. Eagles got to be the favorite there. I don't know. Like I said earlier, I'm excited for the game Sunday. It'll be a tough matchup. And, yeah, if the Eagles take that thing to 6-0, they're on a real roll. Yeah, into the NFC West, 49ers. Defense looks good as always. Jimmy G, the handsome devil, hops in, and he's playing well enough to win games. The Rams, yeah, that was a tough loss for them.
They don't look anywhere near what they were a year ago. Not even a little bit.
I agree, and yeah, I mean, I think some of that magic is starting to wear off. They better sign Odell pretty soon or something. They need some sort of spark, because when you're getting out cheered at the opposing fans are louder than your fans at home, that's a problem. Yeah, I mean, NFC West is a real good division. Seattle's got a good coach. Geno Smith, what a man, perennial backup. Alex Moran would be proud of him.
Heck yeah, baby.
Yeah, I think the NFC West is exciting. The only problem is some of those games get real late out here for me on the East Coast. So.
And out here it's crazy because they start so early here, but they're so late for all you guys. It's wild.
Yeah.
The London games here start at 6:00 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, then I think you just gotta party all night and wake up early and keep it going. Don't sleep.
Sure. Debo, what do you got in the NFC West?
I like the Niners. Expect them to win the division if they keep the defense is playing ungodly. Some people are saying it might be the best defense of all time. I don't know. That's kind of a stretch, but they are playing lights out. Only other thing I want to say is please get DK out of Seattle and put him.
Fair enough. He's actually having a good year.
Why did Green Bay not try to sign him? I mean,
that's
tough talent. Oh man,
bro. Hey,
I mean, for God's sake, the dude had green hair. I mean, what more could you ask? Gosh.
If you could somehow get them to we'll split DK's bonus money with you, just send him here, that'd be perfect. Because him and Aaron Rodgers would torch the entire NFL.
I agree.
Yeah, bro. DK is one of those dudes he's like one of those dudes you could just, he's down there somewhere.
Just let it rip.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Cardinals here. I'm going to always talk about the Cardinals. Their goal going into that everybody was talking about before D-Hop came back was to be 3-3. They're 2-3. If they win this week, I have no idea who they play. They're sitting right where they want to, and then D-Hop comes back for week 7. I think they get D-Hop back. I think they're going to be a completely different team, but I think they're going to be a heck of a lot better offensively.
Oh, yeah.
I think Kyler gets his guy back, and it's going to be Marquise Brown, who he played with in college, and his number one receiver. I think Marquise Brown is like 4th in receiving right now in the NFL. He's been the only weapon on their team that's really done much. Then they get D-Hop back. My fantasy team gets better, and so does the Cardinals. I think they're going to be right in the hunt, but I don't think they can get past the Rams. They're going to play them again. The Rams are like 10-1 in the Sean McVay era against the Cardinals. I like the Rams to be above them, but I hope the Cardinals can slide in for that. Since they have 3 wild card spots, I hope they can slide into one of them. The Seahawks, I don't see them making the jump. And the 49ers look pretty darn good. I think the 49ers will win the division, but we got a lot of football left, and that division makes zero sense. So we'll see what happens. Let's move on to the NFC North. Let's get right into it, Kirch. What do you feel about our Vikings? Is there anybody that can get it going? Let's get it going. Skull! Let's go, baby.
I love that. I love the ticker there. I think the Vikings are playing really well. They're finding ways to win games. Not always the prettiest at the end. Hey, Debo.
Sorry, I didn't
All right,
do that.
now we're getting out of hand here. But no, I think the Vikings look great, man. I mean, Cameron Dantzler putting the team on his back.
That
just
was a huge
taking it
play.
from the Bears.
Huge play.
I mean, let's go. I mean, the Vikings have the talent. They got the negative energy with Mike Zimmer out the door. They picked up Zadarius Smith. I mean, I like the direction they're going. I'm not going to get too high on the Vikings because somehow they just let us down. But for right now, things look good. Hoping to get to a game later this year. I've already talked about the Packers. I don't really feel threatened, at least not right now. So, yeah, I'm really excited about the Vikings. I think they're a good, tough team. Danielle Hunter's playing well again, and he's a force to be reckoned with. I think the Vikings are in a good spot moving forward.
I said it last week. I thought the Packers were the worst 3-1 team in the NFL. I thought that they have the ability with Aaron Rodgers, but they just haven't put it together. Something's not quite right there. They don't have any weapons. I don't know what it is. I think the Vikings. It's so hard to be a Vikings fan because all you want to do is be like, this is our freaking year. We're gonna roll, but you can't do it with the Vikings because they always break your heart. They always go to Philly, and then something happens. It happens every year. Something stupid always happens.
I got a question for you, Blue. What do you think about Thielen? I think they've been underutilizing him some this year.
100%.
I don't know how to find ways to work him in more because, he's a great player. He is a little bit older.
But... So he's been around forever. His prime is better than Cooper Kupp's. Shout out Fan Cave Podcast. I'm just kidding. That's something we talked about on the show. But I'm joking. It's not. But
I know.
I want to see him more integrated in the offense for sure. I mean, he gets 2 catches a game. Hopefully one of them's a touchdown. I mean, it's so it's weird because you'd think moving off of Jefferson that he'd get more looks, but KJ Osborne gets more looks than he does.
Which I like KJ, but yeah, I just would hate to see Thielen's productivity decline, and then
Absolutely.
The Vikings either really something like that direction, or he goes to a team that no one cares about. Like I'd like to see him be a lifer. He's a
Absolutely. He's a Minnesota guy through and through, 100%.
He's important in the community, and people love to see that. And so I'm really looking for him to step up and really take us to the next level.
No, absolutely. I think, and it was fun to see Dalvin Cook have a game finally. He hadn't had a game all year. He is finally back. He's not injured.
He's still got it, man. He's still got it.
Absolutely. That was amazing to see. Madison's a great backup. They're basically like siblings in the backfield. It's fun to watch. Thielen, I think he's a great secondary player. I wish he was still the guy who had 700-yard games in a row. I wish he was still the Diggs and Thielen. That would have been awesome. But he's not that guy anymore. But I hope he does get more targets because when he gets going with Jefferson, I think our offense might be the best in the NFL. It's pretty darn good to watch. Granted, I know Debo hates Kirk Cousins, so I'm going to let him talk about it, but I think our weapons are some of the best weapons in the NFL.
Yeah, you want to go ahead and fix all those problems, just go ahead and release Buddy. Just take that cap in.
He hates it so much.
Bro, you are up in the game. It is 1st and 10. You have a wide open running back on a check down. You throw it into triple coverage and almost sell the bag and lose the game. This dude is the most dog shit quarterback I have ever seen in my life, bro. I cannot stand this dude, bro. Everyone's, oh my gosh, his stats are great. Yeah, his stats are great. In primetime games, the dude chokes the bag away every time. I think
just with Cousins, you just know what you're going to get, right? If he's got perfect protection and time, he's pretty solid. Any sense of a rush on that man, and he freezes. He can't step in the pocket. I mean, he's good at the naked bootleg if no one's chasing him. I mean, if you get a good defense to put pressure on him, he crumbles, and that's it.
The one interception that he threw,
and it gets worse. Yeah.
The one interception he threw when he threw it to tried to throw it to Thielen
That's what
instead
I'm
of throwing it
talking about.
to Dalvin Cook wide
That was
open right in front of him. That was one of the worst decisions I've ever seen.
On
He
first and 10. On
I know,
first and 10. When
he
you're
knew it
up.
after he threw it. It was a bad decision. But I can't hate on him. He gets us there. He just can't get us over it. You know what I mean? But he's always gets us there.
Lost the
We're
game
always
for
in it.
that pass.
If the
Like,
Vikings do find
That
a
was first and 10. In no way in hell would any quarter Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers are not throwing that ball. It's first and 10. You have Dalvin Cook right there, but he's getting at least 6 yards, if not 15 after he breaks the first tackle.
Yeah, the Vikings do not need Kirk Cousins to be a superhero. They need him to play well. They need to get the ball into Dalvin's hands, Justin Jefferson's hands, first and foremost. I like those receiver sweeps, tricky ways to get Jet the ball in space. So, yeah, Kirk Cousins needs to, stay in his lane and don't go too crazy.
If we wanted a superhero, we'd go to Carson Wentz.
Yeah, don't get me started on that guy.
Rest
But just to let you boys know, I got probably this next division, and then I got to step out. So got to get to class.
All right, we'll start. Then you start us off with the NFC South then.
Me? All right. Man, a lot of stories coming out of that division. We've hit on the Panthers hard. I think this ain't their year. Tampa Bay, man, it's a little bit confusing. Tom Brady's been in the news a lot, and there's been a lot of drama. He's still coming ready to play. I think is Chris Godwin still hurt? They need him healthy.
Julio, I don't think didn't play last week either.
Yeah, so I mean, he needs the weapons. I still think Tampa Bay, they're a good team, but I don't know if they're as solid as they were the year they went to the Super Bowl. And I think Tom Brady, man, he should have stayed retired, high key. It sounds like it's costing him quite a bit. So,
yeah, I agree with you. I think that something that I think is interesting, of course, the Buccaneers. I don't know when the Buccaneers have had a healthy receiving core since Brady's been there. They've always been down a couple receivers. But I actually agree with you. I think Tom Brady, he'll never admit it. Because his inner competitiveness will never let him. But I think he wishes he had stayed retired. He's taking a beating. He's actually getting hit this season. Usually one of the things that has made Tom Brady so hard to beat is he never is on the ground. He's always his decision making so fast that he's never by the time you get to him, the ball's out of his hands. This is a year where he's having to wait because he's down a bunch of receivers, he's down playmakers. And I think you're seeing it's a lot of like they're barely like the games they're winning, they still don't look that good in. I do think the Bucs will win this division. The Buccaneers are one of the teams that I could see either being 11-6 or, 8-9. If it just this is a weird division. I think the Saints obviously offensively are horrendous. The Falcons have never been a team you can bet on ever. And obviously we talked about the Panthers. I think the Bucs, give me the Bucs to win the division. They'll be more scary if they can get all their weapons back. But for right now, man, Tom Brady, man, I'm praying for that guy, man. He's going through it.
That's a tough go.
It's a tough time.
And especially Antonio Brown getting involved. No, I'm just joking.
Gosh, don't even
come on.
Dude, I can't believe the thing that Devo sent me. That was so bad.
He's such a clown.
That picture. Yeah, dude. Tom Brady was his life source. He was the guy that brought life back to him, gave him a shot in the NFL when nobody else would. And he's just being a look, this picture says it all. I don't know if you can pull it up, Devo. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's Tom Brady walking out of Giselle's house with Antonio Brown in the dining room over there to the right. It's so bad. Like, he posted that. Like, it's so messed up.
Yeah,
Antonio Brown is a horrible human being. I hope he gets CTE and dies. I hate him so much, dude.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That was a hot take, Lord.
I don't care, dude. Bring back Dwayne Haskins. Get rid of numbnuts.
Heard, but all right, boys. Well, I just got to say it's been really great talking to you. Sorry I got to depart early, but carry on with the show. I'd love to get on again, talk some football.
Absolutely. Hey, we'll have you on. We're thinking about having a couple of cool draft things we're going to do. I definitely want you on for the NFL one. We'll get you on, buddy.
All right. Sounds good.
Go mold some young minds.
Yep. See you, boys.
See you, bro.
All right. Do you have anything, Brad, or we can go back to full screen if we can move on to college ball if you want?
Hey, I'm excited for the next couple weeks. I feel like during the trade deadline, there's going to be some big moves, and I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, me too. I agree. I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, definitely. All right, boys. Brad, how much time do you got? You got to go somewhere, or do you got a little bit of time with us?
I'm hanging, brother. We're good.
Sweet, perfect. That's what I wanted to hear. Let's dive into the world of college football. I know you got your own show, the Southern Fan podcast on Spotify. Everybody check it out. But let's dive into college football because I know you're a big college football guy.
Oh yeah.
Let's, Debo, pull up the top 25, and then we'll look at it, and then we'll go to us three's heads. We'll get rid of it once we go through it because let's just do it. Just dive right in here. What is I want to get your take on it, Brad, on the top 5. Let's just show the top 5, Debo.
Why would you put an ad right in the middle of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
Yeah, that's a terrible. I don't have that on my screen. I don't know why you do.
And they're smart, man. You're gonna look at Region Bank. I don't know what you thought, but you're gonna look at it.
Hey, they're the truth. All right,
Yeah.
Brad. Out of these 5, where do you see they went wrong? What's your top 5? What do you think about these 5?
Okay, so I got a couple things. First, I agree with everything except I think Ohio State should be number 1.
I agree. Yep.
If you've seen, and I can't stand this man. There's a guy on Twitter. Long time ago, he used to be on ESPN. His name is Danny Cannell. He has been screaming SEC bias for years, right? And usually I think he's kind of a clown. But Ohio State looks like the best football team in the country. They haven't had a close game other than the first week of the season where they went and played Notre Dame. They've been winning games by over 40. They have like a 48 points per game. They're having like a 36 point win margin. The fact that Alabama and Georgia just keep switching, no. Like Georgia, I don't think would beat Ohio State right now. And Alabama without Bryce Young should not be in the top 3. They literally were one play away from losing to the Aggies. I'm sorry, man. Like this whole narrative that Alabama and Georgia can't be dethroned as the 1 or number 2, it's ridiculous. Ohio State right now needs to be number 1. They've earned it. They've won the games that they were supposed to win convincingly. I'm sick and tired of the SEC just getting the nod because what did Alabama do to look like the 3rd best team in the country last week?
I know.
Like, they literally look bad. I mean,
and I also, go ahead. Yeah,
like Georgia beat Auburn, and it was a convincing win. But Ohio State, and I say they're not getting respect. They're literally in the top 3, but they need to get the number 1 position. They've earned it. They've taken care of their games very, very consistently by big margins. They haven't even like sniffed an upset. So the fact that they're staying right at number 2 is kind of getting on my nerves. I do think that the one team out of the top 5 I could see losing pretty soon is Michigan. I still am a little bit hesitant. I don't know why. Their passing game I'm not a huge believer in yet. I do want to see when they play Penn State. I want to see that game. But
that's next week, isn't it?
No, it is.
It's like this week coming up. I'm pretty sure it's a Saturday.
That's the one. I wish I could get this weekend off. I would get tickets and go. Yeah. I think that game right there, Michigan wins that game, solidified top 5 team in the country. They lose. We'll have to see how they lose. But yeah, man, I think Ohio State's 1. I would put Bama at 2 because they've won and they've won a couple games convincingly. Georgia's got to keep them in the top 4. I think Clemson right now, their defense is a little shaky, but DJ Uiagalelei, I like him. I like the way he plays. I think Clemson's got
– yeah, he has it down. He has his name down.
Down smooth. You said that perfect.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, no one's talking about Clemson. They might still win the national championship, dude. That quarterback looks legit this year, man. Like all the hype that we gave him as a freshman, I think was a little bit unwarranted. I think it got to his head. I think it kind of crushed him for a couple games. But this is the best thing that could have happened. No one's hyping him up, and he's having a fantastic season. He is making some of the best throws I've seen down the stretch of every game, and they're winning big games. And that's what you wanted to see out of Clemson was consistent good quarterback play and then consistent good wins. Have you done both? I think that they could sneak in and win the championship this year. My money would stay on Alabama. I hate to say that. I do think that with Bryce Young, they're the best team in the country, but I think top 5 is pretty even. But Ohio State, put them at number 1, dude. I get it. We're the SEC. I'm a SEC born and bred. I love them, but Ohio State's look like the best team in the country. Come on, like they deserve.
I couldn't agree more with your take. I think Ohio State deserves it. The one thing that happened a week ago, I think you talked about it on your show, but I didn't really like it. When Kirby Smart said that there isn't that the SEC should almost get like every game is tough. I get that after the Missouri loss, but if you look at the other teams that have played close games, they get no break. Nobody other than the SEC teams give anybody a break. Missouri is not their defense. Now their front 4 is great. They have a great front 4, but Missouri is not a top team. You can't even sit there and tell me that. Missouri lost to they lost to a group of 5 team this year. They played a close game with, I can't remember what it was. But it's like Kirby Smart, I'm not an SEC guy. I never really have been, but I know they're loaded. Like it's a great conference. It's the best conference, but you can't tell me that you should just overlook this close game with Missouri. Georgia, you have to put them at 3. You have to. They can't be number 1. They can't be number 2. Ohio State has rolled everybody, and the reason why that Notre Dame game was even close was because of the hype around it. Everybody.
I agree.
It's different when you go into. I swear, I know it is. It's different when you know there's hype around a game. You play slower. You play a little bit more nervous. It means a little more for both teams. They got Notre Dame's absolute best in that game. They thought they were the best, and Ohio State still. The scoreboard was not close. Was too close. Ohio State rolled them. They second half. Notre Dame was dead. They wore them down defensively. Ohio State's the better team, no doubt. The number 1 in the country right now. Now we'll see what happens. It's all going to just play itself in the playoff. But as of right now, they deserve the number 1 spot. That's my only knock on it. I think Michigan should be 4 and Clemson 5, but you said I haven't watched Clemson play that much. I know there's a lot of knock on DJ Uiagalelei. I call him ukuleles. I don't know how to say his name. But I think, Michigan got Ohio State coming up after that. I think, go ahead and Debo and look at it. But I would keep it. I would keep Ohio State 1, Bama 2, Georgia 3. I got Michigan 4, but we'll see what happens. And then Clemson 5. I think, but those are definitely the top 5 teams in the country, no doubt. You can mix it around, but I think the only thing I'm standing on, I'm with you. Ohio State needs to be number 1. Debo, what do you think?
I'm looking up Michigan. So I'm looking up some stuff about Michigan real quick, but I think that I don't know. I think Ohio State's kind of a fraud. I think their schedule's been pretty easy, other than the Notre Dame game, which I don't even think Notre Dame's that good. They're getting a lot of hype, but it is what it is. I think when it comes to the playoffs, I think Ohio State is probably going to get rolled by someone. Like, I'm not even joking. I think C.J. Stroud is not that good. He is what it is.
He's the Heisman favorite, and it's not close right now.
There's a lot of Heisman favorites, but if we're talking about actual, like, you think it's going to translate to the NFL? Absolutely.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
I think I'm serious, and I've been doing a lot of quarterback studies these last couple of weeks because of all the hype with Will Levis. I wanted to see the other quarterbacks. Just a quick little add-on. I think the best 2 quarterbacks in the country who could translate to the NFL is C.J. Stroud and Will Levis. I swear. C.J. Stroud and Will Levis are the only 2 quarterbacks who I think can deliver a 65-yard deep ball accurately, like with the flick of a wrist. And their decision making, both of them, has been very, very good. Apart from a couple fumbles, like I think combined they only have six interceptions altogether. Dude, I don't know. Bryce Young's stats are crazy, but you've got to remember who they have around him. And C.J. Stroud has probably less talent than anybody else around his offense in this top 5. I'm telling you, man, C.J. Stroud's a dog. He's going to win the Heisman. I think he's going to win the Heisman. His numbers are, I think he has like 24 touchdowns and like 2 interceptions. It's crazy. He is a legitimate NFL pro. I think he's going to be a top 5 draft pick in the NFL draft coming up. But I just wanted to add that. That's all.
Fair enough. You got anything out of the top 5, Debo? Who do you give me your top 5, Debo, right now?
I put I don't know. I can't really put Georgia or Bama over either one. I put Clemson at 3. I put Clemson at 3, and then Ohio State 4, Michigan 5.
Okay.
But
Okay.
honestly, dude,
But can I ask, what is the hate? Why don't you think Ohio State's legit? Like, I am curious. I am curious.
well, like the Big Ten's kind of weak this year, and they played like Rutgers. They played some pretty weak schools. Like the only team that was even ranked they played is Notre Dame, and it was 21-10. What you said, the scoreboard doesn't reflect how the game went, but like I don't know.
Wisconsin was ranked when they played him, but they're not that good a team.
That's what I'm saying. Like Wisconsin's not the same Wisconsin they were.
No, definitely
Like,
not. But
But that's the thing is they haven't played ranked teams and they've blown them out. Like they've destroyed them. You know, it'd be different if they were having close games, but they are rolling these teams, man. Like odd tests right now, Ohio State's looked like the best team in the country because
without
Georgia
their best receiver too.
But
went and played Missouri and literally almost should have lost.
what can I say something?
Yeah.
Pretty much anybody that starts on Missouri's team would probably start at any team in the Big Ten. Like Big Ten's depth, like we don't have the depth like the SEC does. Like I get you said everyone kind of rides the SEC, but it's a fact. The SEC's got dogs everywhere. Like dudes are animals there. It's a different ballgame in the SEC.
Oh no, absolutely. I
mean,
agree.
like SEC homer, but Ohio State should be number one. They haven't even had a close game in almost 2 months.
I feel that, but they also haven't played like a Georgia. They haven't played Tennessee.
Who has Georgia played?
Yeah,
Georgia. I get it, but Georgia. I get it. Georgia's looked rough, but like I still think when it comes down to it, like they're at least facing adversity. Like people were mad about that Missouri game, but I'd rather have them face that earlier in the season than later in the season. And like Stetson Bennett is the only quarterback that actually comes down and like is checking plays and making like actual like NFL adjustments in college games. No one else. I mean, I've really watched Ohio State a lot, but no one else is really doing it like that. Like that dude's actually like running their offense. Yeah, he struggles every now and then, but his struggles aren't that crazy. But if you put him in an NFL system, I feel like he's gonna actually do pretty well.
Do you think Stetson Bennett's better than CJ Stroud?
I don't think he's better talent-wise, but I think his decision-making in an NFL system where you got to make
– Are you kidding?
Stetson Bennett can throw it over the middle. Stetson Bennett can fit it in tight windows. CJ Stroud, I feel like he's one of those gunslinger dudes that just launches it over the middle like every other – I get it. You can say what you want. You don't have to agree with me. I like when people don't agree with me. But I'm telling you, CJ Stroud is not like that.
Yes,
he might be like it in college. When he gets to the NFL, he's going to be like Justin Fields. Any other dude that's going to be there he's going to get the hype, and then 4 years.
Fields playing on one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and he still looks solid.
Justin Fields does not look solid.
He's playing the Bears.
I get that, but you put him. I get that. Justin Fields is not it though. You put him on any team, he's not going to look good. Yes. He's just like a Baker Mayfield.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, Fields is athletic. He's fast. When it comes to actually playing quarterback and making good quarterback decisions, he does not follow quarterback rules. Like, stuff you should not be doing, he does. It's not good. Kyler does it too. Kyler does that stuff a lot. There's a lot of quarterbacks that don't do it. There's a reason in the playoffs you see guys like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes doing it consistently because they know how to they understand how pro football works. It's not the same as college.
But you can't compare any of these quarterbacks in college football to Mahomes.
You can't. What do you think
can't compare to any of them.
What do you think they're working for? They're working to get to the NFL.
Yeah, but none of them are there,
they're
though.
Just playing to play? Like, no. The ultimate goal is to be an NFL quarterback. And
I agree, but none of them are there yet, though.
Honestly, the best comparison I saw CJ Stroud to was Jalen Hurts. They look like the exact same quarterback. If you watch Jalen Hurts film at Oklahoma and CJ Stroud's film at Ohio State, they look like the same person. And what the knock on them is they both aren't in the SEC, which I understand. But CJ Stroud, any SEC team was recruiting him. He just chose Ohio State over him.
That was Jalen Hurts was in the SEC. He didn't finish out there, but he was there.
And he lost his job.
but he's
Yeah,
known
'cause
from being
he
an
lost
SEC
his job
quarterback.
because Nick Saban tries to limit dudes like, hey, you got 2 5-star receivers. Let's run this play action boot. And if it's not there, just launch it to your wide open receiver. That's literally all he had to do at Bama. It was literally rollouts or handoff every other play. And then he went to Oklahoma, got with Lincoln Riley, and actually learned how to pass and like operate an offense.
And what happened when he got to the playoff?
What do you mean?
Got
They got
absolute-
blown out. That was because look at bro, Oklahoma gets blown out every year in the playoffs, no matter who they had. When they had Baker, when they had Kyler, their offense is fire, but their defense can't handle those SEC teams, bro. That's literally what happened every year. College, like I'm saying, Jalen Hurts looked smooth at Oklahoma. At Bama, he looked a lot worse. He looked good, but like there was times you could see like he wasn't an actual quarterback. He was just kind of running simple plays that normally works for Bama, which I get. They don't really do that with Bryce. Now with Bryce Young, they actually run a more sophisticated offense, but I don't know. I still think I don't know, bro. I don't think CJ Stroud.
Going back to our original argument, the only thing I have to say, the only thing I'm going to say is if anybody like Kirby Smart, if anybody's going to say that Georgia and Bama get a pass for SC being tough and playing big games, then Ohio State deserves the same argument because Bama hasn't beaten anybody that. I mean, A&M's all right, but they're not that good. Mississippi State made them look horrible. And Arkansas and Bama took care of Arkansas. So I give Bama a benefit of the doubt, but Georgia hasn't beaten anybody. Auburn had Robbie Ashford playing quarterback for him, and he couldn't even make it at Oregon, so came back to Auburn, and he hasn't made it anywhere. He's the third string quarterback for Auburn this year. They are down to their third guy. I don't know, man. I just if you're gonna do it to one, you gotta do it to all.
For the sake of the show, let's move on because we can talk about this. I'm really gonna talk about this on my show today. Like I am so ready to debate the quarterback situation with CJ Stroud and dude. Let's move on.
I've just heard a lot of coaches say. I've heard a lot of not a lot, but I've seen a couple ex-Ohio State coaches said he's lazy. And if that's the case, bro, like they said he's way too laid back. Like he's one of those stereotypical like Southern California kids. He's just
so was Justin Herbert though. He was the same exact way.
He's way too laid back and comfortable. I mean, Justin Herbert.
Everybody says was a beta. He was a slow, like didn't speak up to anybody, didn't get on anybody, was kind of just did his thing. And
he's in Oregon though. I'm saying this. They said this dude is like a straight up like straight up LA dude that like he's just super chill about everything. Like he doesn't really put forth the effort. Like he's just naturally athletic and like has the talent to do it. Which if that's the case, when he gets to the league, he's gonna get steamrolled by those dudes.
For sure. Let's move on through 6 through 10. Let's get into that, and then we'll wrap up with some trivia, and we'll get you out of here.
6 through 10.
So this is what I want to get into. Brad, I'm going to come to you first. Do you agree with the list? And is there anybody 11 through 25 that you think could be on the hunt to get into top 10, or somebody that should already be in there?
I think this list actually fares well. I think
it's actually perfect. Yeah.
I think these are the top 10 teams in the country right now. If you look at results, the way they've played, who they've played, you've got to have Penn State in there. You've got to have Ole Miss. They've got Ole Miss is undefeated, man. Oklahoma State, they got tested and they won. USC is the hardest one to read just because they play in the Pac-12 and it's just harder to judge the Pac-12 right now. I thought for sure Tennessee would jump into the top 5 after their win against LSU. But after I looked at who was in the top 5 and I kind of like studied, I was like, I kind of understand. I don't think one of those teams are gonna drop until they lose, which that could happen this week. I do think that the best team in here is Tennessee. But I have telling you, man, Penn State, dude. That's a good football team. I do think Ole Miss is a little bit of a fraud in here. I think Ole Miss, because right now I'm a Kentucky fan, and Kentucky's reeling right now, man. Ole Miss's best victory is against us, and they shouldn't have won the game. Do I think Ole Miss is a top 10 team in the country as far as talent and just continuity and what they have? No, but they've got to lose, and until they lose a game, and they're not going to lose to Auburn. So I think Ole Miss is going to probably be 8-0 going into the. I think they'll play. I think it's Alabama in week 9, but I think USC would be the only team in here that I would kind of be like, eh. But they've won games. All these teams haven't lost. You can't put UCLA over any of these guys yet. You surely can't put Oregon. They've got one of the worst losses in the season on their resume. TCU's sneaky. I do think Kansas. It was a solid win for TCU. But then again, we look back at Oklahoma, and now, like, how big of a win was that? Because Oklahoma. So I think you have to keep who's in here at 6 through 10. I think this week will obviously say a lot because Penn State goes to Michigan and Tennessee with Alabama. I think if Tennessee beats Alabama, I think they'll go to number 3 in the country because of their resume. I think if they hold it close, I think they'll stay in the top 10. If they get blown out, they'll leave the top 10. I think UCLA or Oregon will take their spot. I think the rest of these teams, I don't know, man. The Oklahoma State game will be interesting. I do think O State will take care of TCU. I think 6 through 10, this is about as good as it can get. I don't think you can put UCLA or Oregon above anybody on this list. But Ole Miss and USC, to me, I'm not buying too much yet. Penn State, Michigan, we'll see what they're both made of this week. And obviously Tennessee, Alabama. This is going to be a good week of college football, boys.
Yeah.
Good week of college football.
Facts.
Who do you think is better, Brad, UCLA or TCU? Who would you have more prime to get into at the resume right now? Who would you put in at, like, say Ole Miss loses? Who would you put in?
I'd have to say UCLA right now,
Okay.
man. That back-to-back big wins, man. Strong. Yeah. Dude, I thought the Utah game. I thought that was going to expose them. And man, I can't believe I'm saying this, but UCLA's solid. They are a team. And
they have a 9th-year quarterback in DTR. Dorian Thompson been there forever.
He's still their quarterback?
Yeah, DTR is still their quarterback. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He's been there forever, dude.
You want to hear a crazy stat on UCLA? DTR was Tate Martell's receiver at Bishop Gorman.
Thanks.
Yeah, he was. He didn't start till his senior year because he was behind Tate Martell.
Yeah, shout out Tate Martell, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Bagging
groceries.
Right. I think right now I've got to roll with UCLA, but I am convinced that TCU is a solid football team. I just think that if you took away the Oklahoma game, I think their best win is Kansas. And while I think Kansas is definitely legit, I think you can't put them in the top 10 based off of that because of how bad Oklahoma's looked. So I got to roll with UCLA, man, for sure.
For sure. Debo, do you have any take on the 6 through 10? Or anybody looking out?
I might flip Ohio State, I might flip Oklahoma State and USC, but other than that.
Neither one of them, it's weird. Neither one of them have that signature win yet, though. So it's kind of like we'll see what happens. Both of them have their rest of their schedule. I mean, Oklahoma State beat Baylor, but Baylor is not. I mean, I thought they were going to be something, and they're just not this year. They're a mid team in the Big 12. All right, that's basically. I have my list exactly. I think TCU because they have actually I can't say that because they both have. It's weird because they both have experienced quarterbacks. Max Duggan and DTR both have looked very, very good. Actually, I got to give to UCLA as well because UCLA has proven what they've done. But I think TCU is another team that can definitely make a run in the Big 12. I'd be fine with a TCU Oklahoma State Big 12 championship game for sure. That'd be fun to watch. And I'd like to see Oklahoma State win it after getting beat last year by Baylor. All right, go ahead.
I'm gonna actually watch some CJ Stroud film from this year. That I'm gonna actually watch some film, and we'll see. But I don't know. We'll see. If he's actually like the truth, I'll let you know. But I haven't watched too much from him. But I don't know. I think the hype is hype. But if he's real,
he won the Elite 11.
I'll do some research. Fluor, you know how many quarterbacks you said that about? And
a lot. That's how I know who's coming up. I love that show.
So if you look at his deep ball throw, him and Will Levis have the best deep ball pass in the country. CJ Stroud puts that thing on an absolute rope, dude. It is beautiful to watch. And I do like where you mentioned about like the short throws and stuff. that a lot of the college quarterbacks just don't have because they're so like juiced up. They don't want to make the 4-yard pass because it's like not the sexy throw.
Yeah.
CJ does that exceptionally well. He's very poised, man. I like him. I think he's really solid.
All right, man. I'll actually do some research and watch it. I promise you. I got you.
Sure.
All right, let's move on to Monday's our NFL show. We're going to do a little bit of NFL trivia, and it's all on the stats of this year's team, who are the league leaders in stats. I'm going to give you guys who's first in this, third in this. We're just going to flow on that. All right, that's our trivia this week. We'll get into it. Debo, first one for you. What quarterback is leading in passing yards this year through 5 games?
I actually think it's Kirk Cousins. Or Jalen Hurts or Kirk Cousins. I want to say it's one of those.
It is neither. Brad, do you want to steal?
I am almost positive that it is his name just literally slipped my mind.
What team?
That gives it away.
Well, no, I'm not. If he knows, I will just tell him the dude's name on the team. No, I was asking Brad what team. I
got it. They're saying like me to give it. I guess I'll give it away.
No, I was asking Brad what team he's thinking of.
I'm pretty sure it's Jared Goff.
It is neither. It is Josh Allen, the best quarterback in the league.
Oh yeah, because he threw for 600 yards yesterday.
It
I
is.
forgot about that.
Moving on to Brad, the next question is, who's second on that list in passing yards for you?
Jalen Hurts.
It is not Jalen Hurts.
Wow.
Debo, who you got?
That was selfish.
Who did I say the first time? Kirk Cousins. It's got to be Kirk. I'm pretty sure Kirk's done a lot of yards.
It is not.
Carson Wentz.
It is not. Carson Wentz is fourth on the list. Second is Justin Herbert.
I always
Really?
And then I'm not going to go down the list, but I'm going to do the third. Who is third? Debo to you. Then we'll move on to another different category.
Kirk Cousins.
It is not Kirk Cousins. I'm going to tell you where Kirk Cousins is.
Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts is 6th on the list.
There's no shot.
Hurts is 6th, Goff is 7th, and Cousins is 8th. Who is third? Brad Perry. It's actually going to shock you.
I am going to guess Tua Tagovailoa.
It is not. If you ask him, though, he might think that right now.
Cooper Rush.
No.
That's a good guess.
It is the 95-year-old Tom Brady is third in passing yards in the NFL
That
right now.
doesn't shock me at all. You said it was going to shock me, so I said Cooper Rush.
They haven't had a great statistical football game yet as an offense.
Bro, it's the Buccaneers, dog.
know.
It's still the Buccaneers.
All right, let's move on over to rushing. I think it's Debo's turn. Who's leading in rushing in the NFL right now? Yards.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Nick Chubb, probably.
It is Nick Chubb. Debo finally with the first points on the board. All right, Brad, coming to you. Who is second on that list?
Is it Saquon?
It is Saquon. We got 1-1.
Let's go.
All right. They know the running game. What defensive player is leading the NFL in interceptions, Debo?
Ooh.
Jordan Poyer.
It is Jordan Poyer, even though he's injured. Attaboy. All right.
I was blanking on his name for a second, and I was like,
I had that one too.
he's got the hottest wife in the NFL, hands down.
Really?
She's pretty bad.
All right.
Bush?
Brad, I think is it Brad? I think it's Brad's turn. It is. Who's second in receiving yards in the NFL?
Ooh, receiving yards.
I feel like first is too easy, so I'm going to second.
Probably Cooper Kupp, right?
He's first.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go second. I'm gonna say. Oh man, this is interesting. Is it Amon St. Brown?
It is not. Debo, do you have the second?
Is it Debo Samuel?
It's not.
Damn. This is his wife, by the way.
I'll give you guys.
Come on, guys.
Putting up a picture of.
Bro,
From
hey,
the back.
no. We were talking the Only Fan Cave podcast.
We're not doing the Only Fan Cave podcast. I want to. See, it'd be funny, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm a married man. I cannot do that on this show. All right, here we go. I'll give you guys both one more guess for second and receiving. Brad, coming to you.
I am going to
2-1 Debo.
take a shot in the dark and say Tyreek.
It is not Tyreek Hill.
Well, I have
Debo.
two. How do I have two? I thought it was 1-1.
No, you have 2 because you got Jordan Poyer.
Oh yeah, duh. Oh yeah. Second league in the league in receiving. With probably damn. Probably Travis Kelce. It's probably him.
It is not. It is Justin Jefferson.
Oh, duh. Okay.
He's been balling for the Vikes.
Too
Yeah.
hot
Makes sense.
for Justin Jefferson ever. Like,
Because he has Kirk Cousins throwing him the ball. God.
All right, here we go.
Oh.
This is for you, Debo.
Yeah.
What tight end is leading all the other tight ends in receiving yards this year?
Mark Andrews.
It is not. He is second.
So that's Travis Kelce.
Brad, who is leading in receiving yards?
is it Travis Kelce?
It is not. I will give you guys both one more guess. Debo, coming to you.
Mike Gesicki, Dolphins.
No.
Oh.
Dallas Goddard.
No. It is
It's Kittle?
Tyler Higbee from the Los Angeles Rams is leading in tight ends.
Oh, I was gonna say that, but I'm like, surely not, bro. Because
Tyler
I would not have said that. That's crazy.
All right.
Now Tyler Higbee, lunch pail guy.
Brad, for you, what tight end is third in receiving? Because Mark Andrews is second. We already discussed that.
I feel like if it was Travis Kelce, you wouldn't have asked it. So let me think. I'm gonna go. I know Goddard's gotten a good amount of yards this year. Third. Man, I genuinely don't know. I have to go. Yeah, I don't know. Go with Dallas.
It's not. It is not Dallas Goedert.
I don't think
Debo.
Is there any of the names we said already?
No.
Okay. And it might. Is it? You said fourth or third?
It's third in tight end.
Cameron Brate?
No. It is Zach Ertz from the Arizona Cardinals. All right, moving on
That's
to
wild to me.
it's this or that. So this player or this player is which receiver for Debo is leading in receiving yards? Tyreek Hill or Jamar Chase?
Oh,
I know this.
probably Jamar Chase, even though it seems like it'd be Tyreek.
It is Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek.
Brad, for you. Let me pull up another one here for you. Here we go. Who has more passing touchdowns? Matthew Stafford or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
It is Kirk Cousins.
Matthew Stafford.
2-2. We're going to do 2 more for each. Then we'll move on. Then we'll wrap this thing up. Brad, name one of the 3 leading tacklers in the NFL. It's a 3-way tie right now.
I'm gonna say Micah Parsons.
It is not.
How?
I can't give you the teams, Debo, but Debo, can you steal with one of the 3 leading tacklers in the NFL right now?
Is one of them a safety?
I don't know. I actually do not know who 2 of the 3 players are, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Is Talanoa Hufanga one of them?
No.
Yes.
I doubt you guys will get it. I just wanted to see if you guys were caught up on it. The 3 leaders at 54 tackles combined apiece are Jordan Brooks from Seattle, Zaire Franklin from Indianapolis, and then the only one I do know, Roquan Smith from the Bears.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said either one of those two names.
All right, let's see. I'm going to give you the team on this one. Is it Brad? Who is fourth on that list in tackles from the New York Jets?
Ooh. Man, that's like the one team I know nothing about.
Linebacker?
Darrell Revis. I don't know.
Actually, no, I'm kidding.
Is it linebacker?
I can't tell you the answers, boys.
You can't tell us a position?
I am struggling today, man.
These are tough ones. The defensive ones are tough.
It's just I don't even know a defensive player on the Jets this year. That is how.
Debo, who you got?
Debo, you got it.
If it's a linebacker, I'm going to say C.J. Mosley.
It is C.J. Mosley, the only linebacker, the only player I know on the Jets for defense. All right, moving on. We got 3-2, Debo. We need you to step it up here, Brad. Here we go. Let's go with intercept. Let's go back to interceptions. Who has more interceptions? I don't know any of those guys on the list. We'll move on to another one. This is a great show here we got going on here. All right, here we go. Who has more rushing yards? Derrick Henry or Aaron Jones? Is it for Debo? I think it's for, I don't know who it's up to.
Oh.
Debo.
Aaron
Derrick
Jones.
Henry or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones had a crazy game a couple weeks ago. I'm going to say Aaron Jones.
It is Derrick Henry.
Interesting.
All right, to tie it up, Brad, here we go. Who has more rushing yards? Ramondre Stevenson or Dalvin Cook?
Ramondre Stevenson.
It is Dalvin Cook by 1 yard.
That was dirty, Dylan.
All right.
Who are you going to say for the interception ones? What do you mean you don't know who they are? Who are you going to say?
They're all tied. That's the problem. The
Yeah.
leader only has 4 interceptions, so they're all tied. So I can't differentiate. There's
Like it's Jordan Poyer, and the rest have 4.
No, he has 4, and then the rest of them have 3. Like 12 guys have 3, and then 10 more have 2.
Minka's not up there.
Darius Slay is second in the league right now.
You don't know Minka or Darius Slay?
I know those guys, but I'll do this. Who has more? Trevon Diggs or Minka Fitzpatrick?
They're probably tied. But
It's for you, Debo.
I'm going to go with Minka.
It is Minka. He has 3, and Trevon has 2. All right, Brad, you need 2 points. I'm going to give you a tough one here. Let's see here. Let's move back to offense because I don't want to do anything else other than that. Here we go. Who has more rushing yards?
Brad, do you have a neck tattoo?
Behind his ear, he does.
I've got 2.
That's fire.
Thanks, bro.
All right.
Let's see here.
What's up, Dill?
Josh Jacobs or Khalil Herbert?
Khalil Herbert.
It is Josh Jacobs, my man. It's just not your
He
day.
didn't even play like the first 2 weeks. What?
Okay, I got a confession. When it comes to NFL, I'm not as hip as you guys are, like legit.
I thought it was Khalil Herbert too.
I'm a college football guy, like big time.
All right. I'll give both of you one more. And then the bonus question, if you can get it, you're a god. All right, here we go. Sticking with rushing yards because I have it pulled up. Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey, Debo?
Oh, I know
Christian
it.
McCaffrey.
You going with McCaffrey?
Yeah.
It's Jonathan Taylor by 4 yards.
Oh, what is 120 yards or what?
328 to 324.
Gee. That's
All right.
That's not good.
Here we go. For Brad. Austin Eckler or Ezekiel Elliott?
Zeke.
It's Austin Eckler.
Jesus, this is bullshit.
Brad, coming back to you to try to get it close. Here we go.
I have literally missed almost every question.
Leonard Fournette or Brees Hall?
It's got to be Leonard Fournette, right? I know he had.
It is by 5 yards.
Yeah, I know he had a really good game.
All right, Debo, coming back to you. We're going to passing. We're going to passing yards. I'm going to switch over here.
Woo.
No, we're going to go receiving. We haven't talked about receiving much. Curtis Samuel or Tyler Lockett?
Ooh.
Curtis Samuel still in the Panthers?
No, he's a Commander.
Commander? I haven't heard. I'm gonna go Tyler Lockett. I don't know. I'm gonna go Tyler Lockett.
It is Tyler Lockett by like almost 100 and some yards.
I was say Curtis Samuel hasn't really done anything for the Commanders. It's been
He had
all
a good game last week, but other than that.
Curtis Samuels had one good game last
All right, the bonus
What about
question.
What about sacks?
The bonus question. What punter is leading an NFL punt average for either one of you? Just whoever can throw it out there first.
I'm not gonna be able to know their name, but I can tell you what team. Actually, Scott Dixon. What team does he play for?
It's not Scott Dixon. Brad.
Golly.
You know, my repertoire in punters is not the greatest. So I don't know if he's still in the league. Marquette King.
Mark is even still in the league anymore.
Is it? Do you know the team they're on? Does it say their team?
Yeah, I know what team it is.
Is it the punter for the Packers? BJ
It is
Scott
not.
or Bart Scott?
J.K. Scott's on a different team, but
JK is it J.K. Scott?
no, but it's Ryan Stonehouse from the Tennessee Titans, boys.
Really?
Stonehouse.
That's awesome.
Wow.
All right, moving on to the next one. Here we go. What kicker is leading in field goals made this year?
Ooh.
McPherson.
Is it the guy with the last name Gay from the Bills?
It is neither one of them. I'll give you guys one more shot.
What's the Broncos kicker's name? It's got to be him. They kick a field goal every possession. What's his name?
Problem is they only get
Justin Tucker.
two
Justin
field goals a game.
Justin Tucker.
It is not. It is. Oh boy, it's like Maher. Yeah, Brett Maher from the Cowboys.
His dad's a superintendent of the Sioux Falls School District.
Really?
Yeah, he's from Omaha.
That's pretty wild.
He was a kicker in Nebraska.
All right, if you guys can get who's second in field goals made, you win the show.
You don't know who Brett Maher is? He kicked in Nebraska.
I know the name. I've heard the name.
He kicked in Nebraska while you were there, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I watched no, it was the guy who died.
That was Sam Foltz, the punter.
Oh, oops. My bad.
Brett Maher, I'm pretty sure, was the kicker while you were there.
Everybody wears the Forever 27 stuff.
Give me Jake Elliott, bro, number 2.
It is not. Debo, can you get this right so we can get this over with?
Okay,
Why is it always
it was not Brett. He was at University of Nebraska Lincoln Kearney. That's why.
Yeah, Kearney.
Yeah.
Kearney. You can't get drunk without UNK. All right, Here we go. Who's second in kicking?
Made or yards or what?
Made. Like it matters, Debo.
The Broncos field goal.
No, he's fourth.
Justin Tucker.
No.
It's McPherson.
No. We're going to go until we get this thing right.
Who's the Vikings kicker?
It's not him.
I don't know.
Here, I'll give you a hint. Debo's going to get this. It used to be a Vikings kicker.
Blair Walsh?
No.
Kai Santos? I don't know. Who was it?
Mike Vanderjack.
Mike.
Lock it in.
Who used to be a kicker for us?
Daniel Carlson. He kicked twice, and then they fired him. And now he's second in for the Raiders.
Baby.
Dan Carlson.
Man.
I gotta have you guys win one. Here we go. I'll do a best out of 4 quarterbacks. All right, receiving for passing yards.
Okay.
Here we go. You both get a guess. Jacoby Brissett, Davis Mills, Derek Carr, and Baker Mayfield.
Are we talking about yards?
Yeah,
Davis Mills.
that's your guess. Brad, who do you got? I'm going to see if anybody gets it right. Brissett, Mills,
I'm gonna go
Yes,
Brissett.
Carr, and Mayfield.
I'm gonna go Brissett.
It can't be Brissett. He's got the leading rusher in the league. There's no way it's him.
It is Jacoby Brissett.
How?
Boom!
He has
Wow.
1,060 yards.
How?
Dude, he's
Mills
He
has
has the league's
1,048.
leading rusher. That's the only reason I didn't say that.
It is
That's
Jacoby
crazy.
Brissett, but they're all like 20th on the list, but it's pretty wild.
That's wild. Okay.
And you know who's directly above him?
Ooh.
3 pretty good quarterbacks are right above that, and then like 20th.
who is it?
Lamar Jackson,
Wow.
Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers are all the next 3 above for like 18, 19, and 17.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
but
wild.
it'll probably even out. I'm sure the average yards a game is probably way higher than everyone else's though.
Yeah, probably. All right, Brad, do you have anything to talk about before we get out of here?
I just want to say a little quick bit for my Kentucky Wildcat faithful. If anyone is watching this, boys, our dream season definitely is not alive anymore. But I do want to say, don't bow your heads. We still got a lot to play for. We can still beat Georgia. We can still beat Tennessee. But good Lord, this offensive line, man, is making me have gray hair. I still ride or die with my Cats. I still think we're going to beat Tennessee or Georgia. We're not going to beat both, but I think we're going to pull out a win there because they're one of them's at home. Also, guys, Tennessee, like I said it before we got on here. If Tennessee beats Alabama this week, Tennessee will overtake Alabama as the new favorite in college football every year. They got the hype, they've got the fans, they've got the tradition, a lot of national championships. All they needed to do is put one season together with a few convincing wins. They've got a chance to catapult into the top 3 programs in the country this week. So definitely on the lookout for that one. But yeah, nothing else. Go follow my podcast at The Southern Fan on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and on Instagram. That's all I got.
Coming out today. That episode's coming out today.
Shout
Devo,
out
what do you got?
Southern Fan. Shout out Southern Fan, and I got the CJ Stroud film pulled up. I'm about to do some research.
Yeah.
Tell TJ to study up for once. All right, here we go.
He doesn't know what the freak he's talking about.
No, it's fun. I love listening to him. He's kind of funny to listen to. And I don't know what Jalen Williams' problem is with Bill O'Brien, but what in the world, man?
Dude, he probably won't be back on the show, man. I can't do shows where people have no idea what they're saying.
Wait, what happened? What happened?
One of his
Nothing.
roommates was on there. It was pretty funny.
Oh no.
You know those shows where kind of like what we just did with the NFL segment, where you can just tell that sometimes people just don't know anything about it. It's one of those
It's a
things.
kid who grew up in Alabama but never really watched the games, but still kind of like follows them. He was giving some Alabama takes on some of the coaches, and it was kind of funny to listen to.
It makes sense, man. I will say, my show today is going to be very heavy with like a lot of content, so I'm very excited. Also, I want y'all's picks real fast before we get out of here. Who do you think wins Tennessee, Alabama, Penn State, Michigan? Who you got?
Is Bryce Young back?
Yes.
Then I'm going Alabama.
You think it'll be close? You think it'll be a blowout?
I think it'll be close. Alabama hasn't put a team away that's been good yet.
Yeah. All right,
If
Debo.
I want to be the devil's advocate and say Tennessee just because. Hendon Hooker, baby. Hendon Hooker might come in there and throw about 350 on them boys. I just really want to see Alabama lose just so I can talk crap to Landon. I really do. I'm not going to lie.
All right,
If-
Michigan,
especially-
Michigan, and Penn State.
Wolverines, I got Michigan and Blake Corum's too good. JJ McCarthy, I want Cade McNamara to play just because I feel so bad. There is not a person in the country I feel worse for than Cade McNamara. The guy goes and beats Ohio State for the first time in Harbaugh's job, and then guess what? See ya. We'll go on to the rookie. We'll go on to the freshman, and let's see how he gets it done. Because he can throw a deep ball, but he hasn't proved it yet since he's been there. It's ridiculous. I feel bad for him, but I'm going to go ahead and ride Michigan. But I kind of hope Penn State beats them just to stir things up.
Yeah. Debo, who you got?
At Penn State or Michigan?
I think it's at Michigan, isn't it?
I think it's Michigan.
I think it's at the big house.
If it was at Penn State, I would take Penn State, but I think whoever had home field advantage is going to win this. I'm going to go with Michigan.
Also, last thing, you heard it here first. Kentucky is going to go into Rocky Top and beat Tennessee. Scores be 28-24. Will Levis is going to outplay Hendon Hooker and prove to all these dumb idiots on Twitter, absolute fraudulent fan base of Rocky Top, that Will Levis is light years ahead of Hendon Hooker. Hendon Hooker is the biggest system quarterback I've ever seen. Trash. Horrible. And Kentucky's already beaten him once in a bowl game. So he's not getting no hype from me. I'm sorry, man.
Hey, that's what I like to hear.
I hate him.
I like the compliments for real.
Oh, it's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna happen.
Absolutely, I agree. And thank you, Brad, for everything. Thank you for coming on, man. It's always fun when you bring the juice on this show. Next time will be a little better show. This is our longest show we've ever done. We're sitting at 2 hours. We've been on the show, and you've been in your car. You've been outside. You've been all over the place. I appreciate you hanging in there. This show absolutely sucks. But you know what? We'll be all right. Ain't nobody listening at this time anyway. But if you still are, you're a real one. Like and subscribe, and somebody comment.
If you're still watching right now, comment potato salad in the comments.
If you're actually watching this, I will buy you something if you're doing this. I promise you. If you're watching,
comment potato salad. I will buy you something.
If you post in the next hour that you're doing this, good for you. Good on you. I'll buy you a gift card.
The show goes live, so it won't be for at least 2 hours because the show's live. So
I ain't paying nothing.
Issue with the show. Get over it. We're just having fun, man. Nobody likes those. Nobody likes those weird. Everybody makes the same take all the time. Those shows suck, man. This is a fun one. Where else do you get a guy who's a college professor calling teams mid? Come on.
Wearing a Vikings full headdress.
The greatest thing I've ever seen. Hey, this is great.
You got 65-year-old guys just talking about nonsense.
For real though, we do have to hard cut this off because we only can record for 2 hours, and we're like almost there.
We're right at it.
So we got to close this out.
All right. Well, thank you, boys, for coming on. Go Yotes. See you.